soy Ricky de Bilingue Vlogs. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for being here for our fourth video in our Spanish sentence structure series, where we're going to be talking about how to correctly use verbs like gustar. There are a lot of mistakes that I see when you guys are using verbs like gustar, so I want to clear up all of those mistakes so that you don't have those problems anymore. Get a pen, get a notebook, take notes. So we're going to start it off as we usually do with the pre-quiz, and then we'll get into the actual lesson. We're going to start off talking a little bit about English first before I get you to understand it in Spanish. With verbs like gustar in English, our format will be a subject, a verb, and an object. So for example, I like chocolate. I is the subject, like is the verb, chocolate is the object. In Spanish, we can keep the same style, except for our words are going to have a different, they're going to change positions pretty much. So where we have I like chocolate, the subject is first, the object is last. We're going to switch the object with the subject. We're also going to change the wording up a little bit too. So to me is pleasing the chocolate. So we still have somewhat the same thing, but not exactly the same thing. So to me is pleasing the chocolate. So our format in Spanish will be indirect object, then you have your verb, and then you have your subject at the end, okay? So in Spanish that would be me gusta el chocolate, me gusta el chocolate, which translates literally to me, it is pleasing the chocolate. To give you guys something to remember how to use verbs like gustar in Spanish, I brought a little friend along with me. Check this out.
To me is pleasing the chocolate. A mí me gusta el chocolate.
I've never seen Star Wars, but I know that Yoda talks a little funny. It may not be 100% like Yoda talks, but just think about that when you're translating from English to Spanish with the verb like gustar. That it's going to be kind of like Yoda. You're going to be talking backwards, and that'll help you to always get it right. So anyways, let's move right along. This is still part of the basic format here. So we have sentences like me gusta el chocolate, right? But to be more specific, say that we want to specify who we're talking about, we need to make it a prepositional phrase. A mí, a ti, a él, a ella, a usted, a nosotros, a vosotros if you're in Spain, or a ustedes, a ellos, a ellas, okay? So any of those can go. We use these when we want to clarify who we're talking about exactly. Of course, when we use like, me gusta, te gusta, nos gusta, we know who we're talking about because that's the only choice that we have. But it really comes in handy when we're talking about what he likes or what she likes, or you in a respectful way, what you like, or they, things like that. It helps us to clear it up, because if not, then we'll get sentences like le gusta el chocolate. Well, who's le? Which le are we talking about? So that's what we have to add. A él le gusta el chocolate, or a ella le gusta el chocolate, or a ellos les gusta el chocolate. Okay? So prepositional phrase before the indirect object pronoun will be used very frequently when we're dealing with verbs like gustar. The last part of the basic formatting that we have with verbs like gustar is your subject. So remember, the subject is what is at the end of the sentence. When we have a subject that is a thing, we need to always include the article. So that's why we see in the sentence, in English, I like chocolate. We don't say I like the chocolate, because chocolate is not the subject. But in Spanish, it is a subject, and we have to add the article with it. Me gusta el chocolate. That's why we have the article in there. That's it for the basic format. Now let's move on to how to conjugate the verb like gustar so that it makes sense and that we're doing it correctly in Spanish. So our verb like gustar with formats like gustar will relate to the subject at the end of the sentence. So what does this mean? That means that if our subject is plural, then our verb needs to be conjugated in a way that reflects that it's talking about something plural. So we have our basic sentence, a mí me gusta el chocolate. So it's gusta because el chocolate. You get it? That's singular. Our subject is singular, el chocolate. But what if we have more than one chocolate? I like chocolates. A mí me gustan los chocolates. So you see the article of our subject changes from el to los chocolates. And the verb gustar changes as well. A mí me gustan los chocolates. If in our mind we can change the subject to the word it, then we know that it will be singular. So it's going to be gusta. If we can change that word in our mind to the word them, then we know that it will be gustan because it is plural. So that needs to reflect there. Okay, so we're going to be using the ellos, ellas, ustedes form of gustar, which will be gustan. And the beginning won't change. A mí me gusta. A mí me is still going to be the same. Gustan los chocolates. That's the part that changes because gustar has to reflect the subject. Los chocolates, okay? Does that make sense? Another example would be, she likes your shoes, but we're talking about your as in the plural sense, so like you guys' shoes. A ella le gustan sus zapatos. A ella le gustan sus zapatos. So it sounds a little confusing, but it's not. All we're doing is keeping the beginning the same and changing the ending. So that's talking about plural versus singular. Now let's get a little more in depth. This is where a lot of mistakes come from because they don't teach this in school very well. When we have when our subject is different than our indirect object, then we have to make the verb that is gustar or whatever verb is in there, we have to make that verb respond to the subject. So for example, if I want to say, I like you, I'm going to say, me gustas tú. The tú is optional. You can just say me gustas, but you can also say me gustas tú. Me gustas or me gustas tú. That's I like you. If I want to say you like me, then I'm going to say te gusto, te gusto. And that's pretty much to you, I am pleasing, or I am pleasing to you, te gusto. So it's something that we really have to take into consideration, something that we really have to think about because this is not how we do it in English. But just remember that gustar, or the verb like gustar, will always correspond with our subject at the end. So if it doesn't correspond to that, then it's wrong, okay? So we wouldn't say, if I want to say, I don't know, I like you, I wouldn't say te gustas, okay? That would never work. That means you like yourself, te gustas. I would have to say, me gustas, I like you, because to me, you are pleasing. I'm trying to put this in the simplest form for you guys, so I'm hoping that it really makes sense for you. Also, this applies all over Spanish. So it applies for the present tense, the past tense, whatever tense that it is, gustar needs to correspond. So like last night somebody made chicken. A nosotros nos gustó el pollo. A nosotros nos gustó el pollo. So you see, it's not me gusta anymore, but it's gustó because it's the past tense. We like the chicken. Okay, literally word for word, to us, it was pleasing, the chicken. This is where I see the most errors, so that's why I kind of wanted to go over that with you guys and make sure that you understand it. So I'll make a quiz for you guys where you can practice those and work on getting those correctly, okay? Okay, another common mistake that I see when people use verbs like gustar is they want to add the direct object pronoun when they're using verbs like gustar, and that is never ever going to happen. What do I mean? This is what I mean. If somebody wants to say, I like it, they say, me gusta lo. That never works for me, gente. Never, ever, ever is going to work. Don't ever use that. If you want to say, I like it, then it's simply me gusta. If you want to talk about exactly what you like whatever the it is, then you need to state what it is. So, if I like your shirt, I wouldn't say me gusta la. I can just point to it and be like, me gusta. And then they can be like, what? And I can say la camisa. Or I can just flat out say, me gusta la camisa. We're never gonna use la, lo, las, los when we're dealing with gustar, okay? Okay, what I mean is we're never gonna use it alone. We can use it in phrases like, I like what you're doing. Me gusta lo que haces. Me gusta lo que estás haciendo. We can use it there because it's not just lo, but it means that which. I like that which you are doing. I know it's weird to translate, but it means I like what you are doing. So that's the format that we use there. For another example, it fascinates her would be not le fascina la, but it would be le fascina, right? It fascinates her. A ella le fascina. It's fascinating to her. Okay? So what is the it? We don't know, but obviously if we're in a conversation, we would know what we're talking about. And if we don't know what we're talking about, then we can clarify by adding that subject in there. A ella le fascina el perro. The dog fascinates her. Another thing that I see is a very common mistake when dealing with gustar is people want to use the gerund after gustar. So what I mean is, I like singing, playing piano, and writing songs. So people will translate it like this. Me gusta cantando, tocando piano y escribiendo canciones. Now, we never ever do that. So when we have verbs like gustar will be the only verb that we conjugate. After that, it needs to be in the infinitive form. So cantar is a verb. Tocar el piano, tocar is a verb. And then escribir is also a verb. So it needs to be in the infinitive form because we already conjugated the verb like gustar. Me gusta cantar, tocar el piano y escribir canciones. Okay, so that's the correct way to do it. Once you get a grasp of that, I think you'll be very good with verbs like gustar. I know this was a quick video. I wanted to get this information to you guys very quickly and make the video shorter but very relevant and hit those key points. So now let's get to this mini quiz.
Esperando que decidas volver, sigo pensándote, sigo amándote, te sigo extrañando, esperando que decidas volver, sigo pensando.
Alright, so hopefully you guys did well with that. If you didn't do well, that's fine. You're not experts yet, but just review the video, review the material, or luckily, or hopefully, you have written the material down, because that's the best way to learn is to write the material down and then to study it later. That's all for the video today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day.